There's an undeniable magic in the stories and lessons passed down by those who've lived through decades of change. At 80, life has a way of offering clarity, and with it, profound wisdom. These insights aren't just about surviving, but about thriving through the challenges, joys, and surprises that life throws our way. Whether it's about relationships, health, or pursuing passions, the advice from those who have seen it all is a treasure trove of valuable lessons. In this article, we'll explore 7 powerful lessons shared by 80-year-olds, covering everything from embracing change in health to the importance of relationships, lifelong learning, and the true value of wealth. Get ready to be inspired. Embrace change. Don't fear it as we continue to explore the invaluable lessons that come with age. One of the most powerful pieces of advice shared by those in their 80s is to embrace change rather than fear it. In fact, it's often the fear of change that holds many back from truly living life to the fullest. For many, change is seen as something daunting, even overwhelming. But for those who've experienced the ebb and flow of life, change becomes something to be welcomed, not avoided. Take the story of Margaret, an 82-year-old grandmother, who reflects on the challenges she faced when the world shifted from a more traditional way of life to the digital age. At first, I was terrified of technology. My kids and grandkids would talk about Facebook, smartphones, and apps, and I'd just nod along, not understanding a word. But then I realized something. If I wanted to stay connected to my family, I had to step into this new world, she says, her eyes lighting up with the excitement of the change she embraced. Margaret's story isn't unique. Many older adults recall the fear and resistance they felt when faced with new opportunities or shifts in their routines, whether it was a change in career, the introduction of new technology, or even moving to a new home. Yet, as time passed, they learned that change wasn't their enemy. It was their ticket to growth. Take, for instance, George, who after retiring from a 40-year career in banking, decided to pursue a lifelong dream of painting. I was terrified to pick up a paintbrush. I'd never done anything artistic before. But I realized that life was too short to not take that chance, George shares. His first painting was a mess, but today, at 80, he's known for his vibrant landscapes and has even held a gallery showing. He says, "If I hadn't taken that leap, I wouldn't have discovered my passion for art. Change opened up a whole new world to me." This willingness to embrace the unfamiliar is what many older adults attribute to their happiness and sense of fulfillment. It's not about resisting the inevitable. It's about recognizing that each change, whether small or monumental, is an opportunity to evolve, to learn, and to find new joys in life. The beauty of embracing change is that it often leads to unexpected rewards. These rewards aren't just about material success. They're about the emotional satisfaction that comes from growth. When older individuals reflect on their lives, many don't wish they'd stayed in their comfort zones longer. Instead, they wish they'd stepped out more often, embraced uncertainty, and allowed themselves to evolve. Change, they believe, is what adds color to life, making each chapter more exciting than the last. Whether it's moving to a new place, starting a new relationship, or simply learning something new every day, the courage to face change head-on becomes a catalyst for personal transformation. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by change, think about the older generations who've not only survived it but thrived because of it. Change is not a challenge to be feared. It's a gift waiting to be unwrapped. It's the key to living a full, vibrant life. Health is wealth. Prioritize well-being, building on the idea of embracing change. Another powerful lesson from those in their 80s is the importance of prioritizing health, because without it, nothing else truly matters. As they reflect on their lives, older adults often share how their physical and mental well-being played a critical role in how they navigated challenges and enjoyed the good times. It's a reminder that, while success can come in many forms, the foundation of happiness is good health. Consider the story of Evelyn, an 81-year-old woman who learned the hard way that health isn't something to take for granted. "When I was younger, I thought I could eat whatever I wanted, skip workouts, and still be fine. But when I hit 60, my body started to feel the consequences. I had trouble walking upstairs, and my energy levels were at an all-time low," she recalls with a hint of regret. Evelyn's turning point came when her doctor warned her about the long-term effects of her sedentary lifestyle and poor eating habits. It wasn't easy, but she decided to make a change. Evelyn took baby steps, starting with short walks, swapping sugary snacks for fruits, and slowly incorporating more vegetables into her meals. Over time, the weight began to lift off her shoulders, literally and figuratively. The first time I went for a brisk walk and didn't feel exhausted, I felt like I had found a new lease on life, Evelyn says, her face lighting up with the glow of newfound vitality. At 81, she's now more active than she's ever been, taking yoga classes, gardening, and enjoying hikes with her grandchildren. Her energy is contagious, and she's learned that investing in health isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. This shift in perspective is something that many older adults echo. They've realized that the physical and mental challenges of aging can be mitigated or even avoided by making conscious choices about well-being. The advice is simple but profound. Don't wait until health issues arise to make changes. The earlier you start taking care of your body and mind, the more empowered you'll feel as you grow older. Additionally, older generations also emphasize the importance of mental health in their overall sense of well-being. Stress, anxiety, and negativity can take a toll on one's body just as much as physical health problems. Regular moments of relaxation, staying connected with loved ones, and maintaining a positive outlook on life are essential components of a holistic approach to well-being. At 80, many reflect not only on the value of health but on how it has shaped their lives in more ways than one. If I had known how much better I'd feel after making these small changes, I would have started years ago, says Harold, a retired teacher who now spends his days walking his dog, reading, and volunteering at a local shelter. Health is everything. If you have that, you can face anything life throws your way. So, take a cue from those who've experienced it all. Health is the true wealth. Prioritize your well-being today, and you'll set yourself up for a life of vitality, joy, and the ability to tackle all the adventures that lie ahead. Relationships matter more than material things. Building on the foundation of health and well-being, another lesson that 80-year-olds often share is the profound importance of relationships. As we age, the true treasures in life aren't the material possessions we've accumulated or the career successes we've achieved. They are the meaningful connections we've made with others. Relationships are the lifeblood of a fulfilling life, and those who have lived for 8 decades often emphasize just how essential love, friendship, and family are in creating a legacy of happiness. Take the heartfelt story of Robert, an 80-year-old man who reflects on his life and the choices that shaped it. When I was younger, I was obsessed with climbing the corporate ladder. I thought the more money I made, the more successful I'd be. But at what cost? Robert's voice falters slightly as he recalls his regrets. I missed out on family vacations, my kids' soccer games, and even simple moments with my wife because I was always working. But when Robert retired, he found himself sitting in a quiet house, surrounded by things he had accumulated over the years. He realized that the most valuable moments in life weren't in the big promotions or the expensive cars he'd once strived for. The true wealth he now cherished was found in the laughter-filled dinners with his children and the quiet evenings spent with his wife on the front porch, watching sunsets. Now, when I look back, I wish I'd spent more time with the people who mattered, and less on trying to impress others with stuff, he says, his eyes filled with the wisdom that only comes from years of reflection. This realization isn't unique to Robert. Many older individuals look back at their lives and admit that, while they may have worked hard to build a career or accumulate wealth, what truly stood the test of time was the love and support of their families and friends. They've learned that relationships are the cornerstone of happiness, and no amount of money or material goods can ever replace the joy of a meaningful connection. Sophie, an 85-year-old woman, offers similar advice. The best moments of my life weren't on the vacations we took or the big things we bought. They were in the quiet evenings with my best friend, or the days spent baking cookies with my grandchildren. Sophie shares that, while she and her husband didn't always have the money to live a lavish lifestyle, they built a strong, loving foundation that gave them both comfort and joy. Her biggest regret? Not telling the people I loved how much they meant to me, every day. The lesson here is clear. Don't wait to recognize the importance of relationships. Invest in the people around you, whether it's family, friends, or even your community. Because it's the bonds you build and the time you spend together that will create the richest, most fulfilling life. We age. The possessions we once coveted fade into the background, but the memories we share with others are what we hold most dear. The true measure of a life well lived lies not in what we own, but in the love we give and receive. Don't sweat the small stuff. As we reflect on the value of relationships and how they shape our happiness, it's clear that life is far too short to spend it worrying about the trivial matters that can easily consume our thoughts. One lesson that stands out for many people in their 80s is learning to let go of the small stuff, those everyday annoyances, fleeting inconveniences, and moments of stress that, in the grand scheme of things, don't really matter. Take the story of Helen, a 79-year-old woman who, after decades of rushing through life, realized that much of her stress came from obsessing over things that were, in the end, unimportant. "I used to get so upset if something didn't go exactly as planned, whether it was a spilled cup of coffee or a mistake at work. I would dwell on it for days," she remembers. "But when I hit my 60s, I began to understand that those little moments of frustration didn't define me. They didn't change the bigger picture of my life." Helen's epiphany came after a family tragedy. She lost her brother unexpectedly, and in the aftermath, she realized how little time she had to waste on petty concerns. "When my brother passed, I looked at my own life and thought, what am I really doing with my time? Why am I wasting precious moments worrying about things that will be forgotten tomorrow?" she says, her voice tinged with emotion. From that point forward, Helen made a conscious decision to change her outlook. She learned to appreciate the small joys, like the sound of birds outside her window in the morning, or the laughter of her grandchildren playing in the yard. She stopped letting the little things ruin her mood and started embracing the bigger picture, focusing instead on the people and moments that truly mattered. "You can't control everything, and that's okay," Helen explains. "Now, if I spill my coffee or get stuck in traffic, I just laugh and move on. It's not worth losing my peace over." Her story is one that's echoed by many older adults, who often say that the real key to happiness is learning to let go of things that don't matter in the long run. In their youth, they might have stressed over small mistakes or held grudges for years. But as they grew older, they realized that life is far more fulfilling when you focus on the present moment and the people you love, rather than dwelling on the little setbacks that come your way. Take, for example, Paul, an 83-year-old widower who once spent years obsessing over his work and the way things should be. After the loss of his wife, he learned that it wasn't the perfect job, the spotless house, or the perfectly planned vacations that mattered. It was the love he shared with his wife, the time they spent together, and the moments of joy they created. "All the little things I stressed over didn't matter in the end. It's the time spent with people, the laughter, the shared memories that are what I cherish the most," Paul says. In the grand scheme of life, the lesson is simple: don't sweat the small stuff. Life is too precious to be spent worrying about things that, in the end, won't even matter. Shift your focus to the things that bring you joy, the people who love you, and the moments that make life truly worth living. As we grow older, we realize that the little bumps in the road aren't what define us. They're just part of the journey. Keep learning and growing, building on the idea of letting go of the small stuff and embracing the bigger picture. One lesson that stands out in the wisdom of 80-year-olds is the importance of continuous learning and growth. Life doesn't stop once you hit a certain age. If anything, it becomes more vital to keep challenging yourself, discovering new things, and evolving into the person you're meant to be. For those who've lived through 8 decades, the key to feeling fulfilled and alive is to keep learning, no matter how old you are. Take the inspiring story of Frank, an 82-year-old man who, after retiring from a career in engineering, decided to pursue his long-lost passion for music. "I spent my whole life focused on work, designing bridges, solving problems, managing teams. But the one thing I never had time for was playing the guitar, which had always been a dream of mine," Frank shares. "When I retired, I finally picked up my guitar again, but at first, I felt foolish. My fingers weren't as nimble, and I was out of practice. I almost gave up. But something inside him pushed him forward. I kept thinking, what's the point of stopping now? I've got time to enjoy this." Frank started taking guitar lessons online, watching tutorial videos, and practicing daily. Slowly but surely, his skills improved. Today, at 82, Frank is not just playing music for fun, he's also performing at local community events, sharing his love for the instrument with others. "I never thought I'd be performing at my age, but here I am," he says, grinning. Learning keeps you young. It gives you a purpose, a reason to get up and keep going. Frank's story illustrates a powerful truth. No matter how old we get, there's always something new to learn. Whether it's a hobby, a skill, or a deeper understanding of the world around us, growth is an endless process that can bring immense joy and fulfillment. Many older adults share this perspective, noting that the act of learning helps them feel engaged and connected to life. They remind us that age should never be a barrier to learning new things or following our passions. It's also important to recognize that lifelong learning isn't just about picking up new skills, it's also about personal growth and emotional development. Take the example of Ellen, an 85-year-old woman who learned late in life the power of mindfulness and self-reflection. For years, I lived with regret, wishing I'd made different choices, thinking I could have done things better. But I learned, through books and meditation, that the key to peace is accepting yourself as you are, without judgment, Ellen explains. Learning to be kinder to myself has made all the difference. I feel more at peace now than I ever did in my younger years. This journey of self-discovery, emotional growth, and continued learning is one that many in their 80s embrace wholeheartedly. They've discovered that there's always room for more wisdom, more creativity, and more joy. It's not about achieving perfection, but about constantly evolving and finding new sources of happiness. In the end, the lesson is clear. Keep learning, keep growing, and never stop seeking new experiences. Life is far richer when you remain curious and open to the possibilities that each day brings. As you grow older, the world doesn't stop changing, and neither should you. Learning is the key to living a vibrant, engaged life, no matter your age. Money is a tool, not the goal. Building on the idea of lifelong learning and growth, another significant lesson that many 80-year-olds emphasize is the true role of money in their lives. While it's easy to become obsessed with wealth, success, and material goods, those who have lived through the highs and lows of life understand that money is simply a tool. It's not the ultimate goal. As we age, the realization often dawns that real fulfillment comes not from accumulating wealth, but from how we choose to spend our time, our resources, and our energy. Take the story of Jack, a 79-year-old man who spent most of his career as a successful businessman. For years, I chased the money. I thought if I had more of it, I would finally be happy. If I could just buy that new car, that bigger house, or take that luxury vacation, everything would fall into place. But Jack's perspective shifted dramatically when he faced a health scare in his early 70s. I remember lying in the hospital bed, thinking about my life. I had a beautiful home, a successful business, and all the material things I thought would bring me happiness. But I felt empty. I had been so focused on making money that I neglected the things that really mattered. My family, my health, and my personal happiness. That moment was a wake-up call for Jack. He decided to change his priorities, scaling back on his business commitments and spending more time with his children and grandchildren. I started giving back to my community and focusing on experiences that brought me joy, not things, Jack recalls, his voice filled with sincerity. I sold my big house and moved into a cozy cottage. I don't need a mansion to be happy anymore. What I need is love, connection, and the freedom to enjoy each day. Jack's story is echoed by many older adults who, after decades of chasing financial success, come to realize that true wealth is measured by the relationships you nurture, the experiences you collect, and the joy you find in the little things. The late-in-life understanding that money is a means, not an end, is one of the most powerful lessons they pass on to younger generations. Another poignant example comes from Lucy, an 84-year-old retired teacher, who found joy in simplicity after years of living modestly. I never made a lot of money, but I always lived within my means. When I retired, I realized that the memories I created with my students, my family, and my friends were worth more than any paycheck, she says with a warm smile. I'm rich in love, in laughter, and in the moments I've shared with the people who truly matter. This shift in perspective about money also brings a sense of freedom. Older adults who have learned to value experiences over material possessions often feel less stressed and more content with their lives. They recognize that the true joy of life doesn't come from acquiring things, but from the moments spent creating memories, helping others, and living with intention. The lesson here is clear. Money is a tool. It can provide comfort and security, but it should never define who we are or what we value. True wealth is found in the love we give, the time we share, and the impact we have on those around us. The pursuit of happiness lies not in accumulating things, but in embracing what truly matters and creating a life filled with meaning. If you found these powerful life lessons from 80-year-olds inspiring, imagine how much more you could learn by diving into our other videos. Don't miss out on the wisdom that could truly transform your life. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know which lesson resonated with you the most. Speech Balloon Red Heart, if you enjoyed this, hit that like button and share the love. And hey, if you're craving even more advice to live your best life, be sure to check out our other videos. Trust us, you won't want to miss them. Rocket Glowing Star.